Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 32 of What If Naruto Was Neglected and Lost Everything. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Had the Deadliest Bloodline, and enjoy that guys. And he also posts a new series over Anime King of What If Naruto Became the Shadow of Konoha, so go ahead and enjoy that as well guys. And remember, for you to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, would you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last part we left off as Zabuza knocked out Haku, as he told Temari to make sure that she was okay or he will be coming back to end her. As Temari picked up Haku and jumped off with her. As Zabuza stayed behind as he started to clash with Onki, a vicious battle take place, but Oniki had lessened the density on Zabuza's blade. Oniki was just too much of a brute force as he came with his Jinten. As he destroyed the entire area, he crashed his hands down on Zabuza's head that was reinforced by a stone. Zabuza smirked as he released all the paper tag that was on him. It was so much it leveled the entire place where they were, as Onki was caught up in the massive explosion. It was nothing but chaos. We then skipped to an unknown area where Nagito was, as a masked man appeared and he was talking to him and telling him about the destruction of, well, the Hidden Rain, as Nagito was angry. But he was dealing with something, the operation that they were dealing with at the moment. Operation that no one knew about. And it seems like someone else was helping them. Someone right here. And Uzumaki, as they were on Uza after all. As they were planning something and they had to stay here and continue what they were going to do, despite the destruction of the Hidden Rain. Time passed after that, as the war had came to an end. Konoha has conquered the entire land around the entire area, the sand and the entire villages. Konoha ninjas had spread out. The hidden stone had been taken. As Meiterume was telling Kojiro about it, Meiterume was going to attack. She was going to attack the Raikage because she knew if their attack was to fall in a leaf, the Raikage would side with Naruto because of the position that Naruto was in and the strength that the leaf had, because they had so many territory under their control. So she had to take the Raikage out first. As Meiterume, Kiri was no longer in the position that it was. It was no underground in the secret island where Nagito was building. Yes, it seems like Kiri was now a part of the Akatsuki. A lot of plans were being made under disguise while no one knew what was going on. At Konoha, as Karen was so happy that today was her birthday, she was getting closer and closer in age with him. Despite the, well, fathership, because he saw her as a daughter, she's sure that she could get her own that someday. She was attacked in the Senju compound though, as no one was there. Everyone is out getting everything ready for a party. As she was attacked, it was Jirobo and Seikon and Okan, as they were able to kidnap her. Meanwhile, as Naruto was currently in the office, Tsunade was pissed off because something was wrong with him. Using so much of the Kyuubi's power had done a number on him, and Naruto was in a bad stage. Despite him looking so healthy, his body, his inner workings were not operating good at all. When he found out what happened to Karen, his heart gave out. He had a heart attack right there and then. But Tsunade, she was able to bring him back despite his harsh words, telling her that he was going to be fine. A group was quickly dispatched, a group that the enemy asked for. Yakumo was there, Neji was there, Sasuke was there. This group was strange, given the fact that this made no sense at all. But they were all going to make sure that they get her back alive. As Katsumi had Yumi on her back, as he had to bring the real Yumi. They could not fail their Hokage now. They got to the spot as they were surprised to see Hinata was the one that was there. Hinata was fast. It was ridiculous. Neji didn't stand a chance, neither did Sasuke. Sasuke got pissed when he saw her knock down Katsumi. After, Katsumi tried to stop her. Yume was given to Kushina, who appeared by Yakumo. Yakumo went towards Kushina and gave her Yume. Everyone was shocked by this sudden betrayal. Sasuke's eyes twisted as he called out the Amaterasu. As Hinata started to burn, she was being burned to pieces as he were. Cursed at him and tell him to stop by the black flames. They would not out as Hinata writhed on the ground. The curse mark on her neck subsided. She opened her mouth as suddenly someone slipped out of it. It was none other than Orochimaru as he smirked, as he asked, what has he missed since being dead? So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought for you guys game. Switch across the place, check the first episode of this new episode. We start this new episode with sorcery. It was fun to breathe, to eat, to drink, to take a piss, to take a dump, to wash, to feel the sun rays on him, to feel the wind blowing through his hair, to feel the blood inside of him. As he was currently moving with the ragtag group of survivors that he had, with his mother and father puppet under his control. Next to him was Gaara. Gaara looked paranoid, like he expected to attack at any second now. At the same time, Kisame was growling and cursing to his blade. They were acting like an old, married couple. I said it wasn't my fault, you damn retarded sword. The sword growled back at him. What? Kisame said. Fat Sha seen him again. You're stuck with me, you ungrateful bastard. So live with it, said Kisame. Thankfully, puppets don't have sentience, said Sorcery. Or I would be fending off a lot of them. The Ichibai said that we're close to someone else. Someone strong too, said Gaara. Do you think it's the Konoha Hokage? Asked Kisame. As Gaara shook his head. Until we reach a base close to the border, we won't know what is going on, said Sasori. It might be Fu or Utakata. As long as it isn't the Haxabi or the Kyuubi, we should be fine. Guys, said a voice, as Fu flew down towards them, folding her wings. I'm so glad I find you first. It was none other than the 7th Jinjulke, Fu. You know, I look for you guys everywhere. I was so afraid that something happened. Oh, you're right, Kisame-kun. Gaara-kun. Sasori-kun, she said. Are you guys really alright? Is everything fine, she said. Fu, we're fine. Stop it. Said Sasori as the girl would not stop talking. As the girl frowned and pouted. Fu had belonged to Take until Roshi and Han had come by to talk to her. By coincidence, they met with Kakazu, who was an old Take shinobi that belonged to the Akatsuki. So they freed her from her village, and she joined the organization. But despite her being 22 years old, mentally, she was in her teens. Because she had been kept isolated, those people treated her harshly. Kakazu said if you don't hurry up, Uncle Hidan's gonna go on a rampage for Jashin. I should really go and tell him not to worry, but they're basically looking for survivors along the Konoha border. Did some escape, Gaara asked, as he really hoped that his sister was still alive after the chaos that happened at the Hidden Ring. Probably Gaara-kun. We got words, a lot of them, that there's been some moving along the border, said Fu. Konoha is grabbing every single refugee though, and hauled them off, but we don't know where. It's been months. What happened to the others anyway? Asked Fu. Fu-chan said Kisame. We spent months escaping patrols, and laying low in the woods. The most we saw was the life of a bunch of maggots, lying on the corpses. 10 miles away from here. Oh, she said, as she turned towards Sasori. She stepped forward, his eye twitched as she started to pinch his cheek, over and over again. You became real. This is so much like the story. Pinocchio, she said. Sasori eye twitched. Please don't tell me that she just compared me to a fairy tale story, said Sasori. As his eyes moved towards Gaara, but Gaara was in deep thought, thinking about his sister. Temari had actually helped him escape from the hidden sand, and she tagged along with him instead of staying there. The simple fact, she was the reason why he hadn't died in his home village. And if she had died, how could he not consider himself the cause because she came with him? And he was needed to protect her. Yes, Fu-chan, Sasori-chan is just like Pinocchio. He's a real kid now, said Kisame with a chuckle. As the mother and father puppy started to rattle, like they want to attack Kisame. Jeez, can't take a joke, grumpy kid said Kisame. Well, Fu-san, you should go and warn your father that we're alive. You know how protective he can be if you stay away for too long. As Fu giggled. Yeah, that's a bit overprotective. But I'm a grown woman now, and I also have to find Deidara-kun. There's no need, said Sasori as he looked down towards the ground. He blew himself up with the back of the Hidden Stone Army. If you haven't seen him all this time, that means he's dead. Oh, I'm sorry, Sasori-kun, said Fu. It doesn't matter, I'm sure he wouldn't want us to be moping around, and he got the death that he always wanted, to go out in an explosion. Oh, well, Project Atlantis is finished, he said, so you can set course over there. But with all the patrol, maybe you should rest at the border base. At least some good news, said Kisame. I think I'm gonna enjoy a warm bath when I get one. Anyway, see you all real later, she said, as her wings extended as she flew off waving goodbye. So they're survivors, Garak said. We should... I know, Sasori interrupted, but we can do nothing right now. Your sister is strong, Garak. She'll be fine, remember. She also was Haku with her. Yeah, said Garak. At least he hoped that everything was okay. Meanwhile, at Konoha, Midori's uncle was now sharing a cell with her meat bag that she has been torturing for over the past couple of years. It was a sick, cruel joke from her ex-husband. Just to spite her, she could hear the snickers on the other. Captives in here. After all, she was no one of them. She snorted as she looked towards Kurosaki. That didn't at all move from her position. The silence was getting on her nerves, as she was thinking what Naruto had in mind for throwing her in here, with little to no reason. She was gonna mix the alcohol, drinking with the ladies. Mikoto always have those funny stories about guys' stamina that made the others all blush and laugh. It was strange as she found herself wondering and wondering. She realized that she couldn't actually live without her daughters. Even the snobby and bratty Karen was something precious to her, and Yumi was her little girl. And when she was told that she couldn't see them anymore, she had snapped and attacked Naruto, and now she's in here. Maybe it was because she was a bit drunk that morning. I'm an idiot, she said to herself. He was just starting to look back at me with normalcy, and now he's back to negative 300 once again. I don't think so, said the voice as the door swung open. Mikoto Uchiha in her Jonin's vest stood there, as she was holding a scroll with the Hokage symbol on it, as she had a small smile. Mikoto-san, what are you doing here, uncle said. You see dear, the Hokage couldn't get back with you publicly, but he wanted to speak with you. He wanted to give you another chance. You still have your weapons on you, right? Uncle nodded. She found that strange. After all, they didn't take anything away from her. We have a mission. To get the Tishkai granddaughter and deliver her in secret to the hidden stone ambassador in the south of Konoha. So now it makes sense. This is why Ibiki had taken her weapons. Ibiki has sent away the guards. Come on, we must leave quickly. As Mikoto grabbed Kurosaki, as she held her up and started to walk, as Kurosaki barely had rags on her, as Uncle wondered how they were going to leave, being silent, as she quietly shadowed Mikoto's steps until they reached a normal wall. This one's the exit, she said, as she pressed her hand on the wall, and it dispersed the genjutsu as they descended down the root base, as they quietly walked until they reached a cave where that backlight decided Danzo's fate. Wincing as Uncle remembered the memory, as she saw the tunnel heading out. As they carefully walked through the stone tunnel, Mikoto spoke. So, you think you'll give it another shot at him? You can bet on it, Uncle said. Well, if you will have me again, obviously. As the last words were muttered with sadness. Now, none of that, dear. He seemed to be quite sad lately. Perhaps some fight with the ramen girl. Oh, said Uncle, troubling paradise to the stall girl. I heard something like that she's a fruit, and the Hokage prefer a woman with fire in her veins. Well, that's what I heard, said Mikoto, as the two finally made their way outside. As it lay to a good distance outside of Konoha walls, the two started to dash through the forest, carrying in turns Kurosaki, after, resting and carrying her, switching and carrying her, until they reached towards the border of the Hidden Rain. Ah, I see, we're handing her over to the Hidden Stone Army, and not to the Hidden Stone proper, said Uncle. And you still won't tell me what the mission is about, right? I'm sorry, dear. Orders are orders, said Mikoto. Both women then stopped as Itachi emerged from the front. Itachi, said Mikoto, perplexed, as Uncle was confused. Mother? He bowed his head in recognition. The Hokage wanted me to help you out in this endeavor, he said, with a small smile. Mikoto sighed in relief. Oh, you scared me, just appearing out of nowhere like that, she said. How did you even came across us? My crows track you, Itachi, as he raised his hand, as a small crow landed on his hand. And I'm not the right hand of the Hokage for nothing, he said. I seem to always forget how much you've grown, she said with a smile, as the three of them started to walk. Everyone know what the mission parameters is, except for me and the meatbag over here, Uncle Wine, as she tried to remove the tense silence as the both of them simply went quiet. It is lucky, Itachi said. They're already here. The next moment, a group of 4 shinobis wearing stone headbands appeared in front of them. It seems the deal is really here. I'm surprised you delivered, one of them said. Uncle saw the man looking at her. Something was wrong. It seems like time froze, as she was grabbed by the ankle, a earth technique from behind. She was pulled down towards the ground and captured as Kurosaki's body lay limp beside her. As she was shocked, she looked up at the smiling, calm face of Mikoto. I'm glad you like it. Does the bonus satisfy you as well? As the stone shinobi looked towards Kurosaki, as he smirked. With her, we can put up a plea to the daimyo, thanks to your brainwashing. And this is the bitch that broke her, huh? Irony. You... Uncle was too stunned to say anything. That was the only word coming out of her mouth. I did what I had to, for what you did. You really think that he would forgive you after what you did? Guess what? He had a heart attack after finding out about his precious daughter kidnapping. He didn't even send us on this mission. You are nothing more than an escaped convict in Konoha's eyes, and he will hunt you down and kill you. As Anko closed her eyes, trying to come to terms with Mikoto's words, Naruto had a heart attack, but he was young. And what was that about a daughter kidnapped? Yumi and Karen was fine the last time she looked at it, and there was no way that Naruto would ever let them come to harm. You don't believe me, do you? Well, its slaughter of the hidden stone cost him his health. Accessing so much of the Kaiba's power took a lot from him. In actuality, he's nothing more than a 70-year-old. He just has a look of someone young. He's in a hospital ward the last time I checked, breathing through straws. The hidden stone, shinobis kept quiet, but they eyed each other. That piece of news would sell well, especially to neighboring countries. You lied to me, Uncle said, as the groan was reinforced by Mikoto, trapping Uncle so she could not break free. I'm a Kunoichi, and we all lie. You want to know something else, little girl? I'm the one who planned the coup for the Uchiha. And I'm also the one who tipped Itachi off to finding most of the incriminated deeds. Because the weak side of the family had to be eliminated. And you know why I'm telling you this? Because you won't be able to do anything against us. Madara-sama promised us greatness, and with him, as my new husband, one that is finally worthy of me, and not that spineless coward, the Uchiha clan will be reborn. Greater than before. You, betraying Konoha. But you, as she turned towards Itachi, her neck stiffened because she could really turn it. Why? He trusted you. I never stopped working for the Akatsuki, said Itachi. Their ideals are set to peace. How could I betray something like that? I'm sorry for what I did to Naruto. Don't say his name, Uncle shouted. You aren't even worth the tip of his shoe. You backstabbers, her eyes turning to slicks. He gave you another chance. How could you spit on it? Why you? Why you? Who helped you, she asked. Who's in this little shit game of stabbing him in the back? Tell me so I know who to butcher and murder after this. The black markings started to spread over her body as she spoke, as her gaze became cold and wicked. If you want to know, it was your friend Ibiki that helped me, but he's of no more use anymore. To think he did that his pretty girlfriend, gambling troubles. Consequences, said Mikoto. Well, let's get this over with, shall we? As the man from the hidden stone snapped his finger, as two people were brought from bushes, carrying a blonde-haired teen, maybe 19 or 20 years old, chakra suppressors over his body, as his mouth was gagged. Deidara of the Akatsuki, we captured him when he tried to escape. He's the one that you wanted, correct? Mikoto nodded as the exchange went on the way. The moment Itachi touched Deidara's arm, something was ripped out of the ground and fell into a tree and smashed it repeatedly. As the stone shinobi was obliterated, the others tried to run as lightning ripped through their chests, tearing them to pieces. As none other than Naruto Senju stood there, as Anko was surprised as her rage started to lessen. She wouldn't cry seeing him here, because she didn't know if he was coming to help her or kill her once and for all. So she just kept herself calm, waiting. Electricity flowed through Naruto's armor as sparks ran around. Really, said Naruto, as the sky crackled with lightning as rain started to fall. After everything I've done, this is what I get. Blood run thicker than water, Naruto said Itachi as he pulled his blade. So it was a trap for us. A pity. Against two users of the Sharingan. What hope do you think you have, Senju? Said Mikoto. As Naruto closed his eyes, the both of them strike. Mikoto had unlocked the monkey Sharingan after seeing the brutal murder of a couple women that she had befriended in life. Even though their murders had happened with her wielding a kunai, it hurt. But in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. But what confused her, there was a sword sticking through her chest. And then the Raijin stabbed her through her side, destroying her kidneys. And the blade through her chest. By her... She was confused. The blade through her chest was... As she looked at Itachi. Why? Senju, as Itachi pulled out his blade. I will not underestimate you again. You will pay for killing my mother, said Itachi as he picked up Deidara and jumped away. As Naruto sent a nod in Itachi's direction, as Itachi just made his way off with Deidara who was gagged. As Naruto turned to look at the wide eye, Anko made a rush. Anko felt the ground loosen up as she got back to her feet. As she looked at the Hokage, the heart attack was a lie, she said. Yes, said Naruto, as Anko attacked and started punching him right in his arm or chest. You made me worry. You used me as bait, you damn bastard, she said. Yes, said Naruto, without hesitation. I earned it, right? One last life after you throw me out of my daughter's life. And probably invite me to the wedding. Your wedding with a tall girl. Just to make me suffer, right? She stopped punching him when he placed her arm on her shoulder as he whispered in her ear, "Uncle, I said I would never love anyone else again. She's doing her job, feeding false information to Hatiku, a Kumo ninja that is pretending to be a cook, and her relationship is a front." Uncle eyes widened as he whispered in her ear. "I'm just using her, Uncle," said Naruto. "I gave my heart to someone already, and they squashed it. I gave my trust their own, and it was destroyed repeatedly. You know, I can't even drink Karen's brewed tea without making sure that it's not poison. I'm paranoid to the finest degree," said Naruto. You don't love the stall girl," Uncle said. "I like her like a stall girl. I'm happy when she's happy. But why are you telling me all of this? Just because I asked you." "Can you keep a secret?" said Naruto. Uncle tensed as she turned as Kurosaki got off the ground. As she cracked her neck. Well, I had a better host once. But this is satisfactory," she said. "And no stupid mind control." Who are you?" Uncle said. As Naruto placed hand on her shoulder for her to calm down. "Q-chan, Uncle. Uncle, Q-chan. The Kyuubi, Ying Choker. We'll talk about this later. Fill her in," said the Kyuubi, as she started to go through the various shinobi corpses to find something that she can wear. "Uncle, this is important. I wanted to list the me clearly. Orochimaru works for me," said Naruto. Meanwhile, with Orochimaru, "Now who should I kill?" he said, as his eyes scanned through the people. The Hyuga is down. The Uchiha is at his wit's end. Teiwaya is a weakling. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki is at a loss. That leave the Kurama brat. And the Uzumaki who are choices, 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 he said that chuckle. "I know, first we get the Kyuubi under control," as he vanished. As Katsumi felt something slam in her stomach. 5-point seal, Orochimaru said, as he turned his gaze towards Kushina and Yakumo. Teiwaya looked towards him, but her seal flared up as she dropped towards the ground in pain. "Daughter for daughter, would you?" As Orochimaru placed his hand around Katsumi's neck, preparing to snap it if this woman did not listen to his command. "You," said Kushina, as she looked towards Yumi. "Daughter for daughter, huh? Well, if you're having trust problems, hand her to the Yakumo over there, and then we can have a nice hostage exchange," said Orochimaru with a toothy smile. Kushina was torn. If it was anyone else, she would use her chains from underneath the ground, but Orochimaru, he was different, and he would see through her attack in a second, and Katsumi would be dead. With a slow nod, Yakumo picked Yumi up and started to walk towards Asani, as Orochimaru's arms elongated from his shoulders as he pushed Katsumi forward. "Don't," said Yumi as she was begging them. It was one thing to get Yumi back from her mother, a bit of convincing would do it, but from the snake, no, he would do such horrible things to her. "Good, now leave her on the ground," Orochimaru said. 1, 2. As the Kurama girl placed Yumi on the ground. 3. As Kushina saw it in a second, Orochimaru's hand recalling. Chains and snakes rushed as chains ripped through Yakumo's back, as Orochimaru used his snakes to hold the girl as a shield to get to Yumi. My! As he watched the light leave the girl's eyes. What a cruel thing to do, Namikaze-san. Well, being a monster runs in the family. "You did this," said Kushina as her chains grabbed Katsumi and brought her away from the snake. "I did this? No, you did this. Choosing to betray your village. You're one to talk. You're an ex-con criminal. Your crimes and so-called experiments, they were all sanctioned by your husband." As Kushina was shocked. No, he wouldn't do that. Well, they were. He was so afraid of a stone coming back to fight. He made a deal with the devil that he couldn't take it back anymore. "You're lying," she said. "Oh, but you see, every lie has some truth in it. I work for Danzo. I work for the fort. And I work with the Hokage. Think about it. How much missions would I possibly need to fund an entire village? Do you know the sound true purpose? Do you want to know what that village was all about? It was to fund a mercenary unit that would obey no one except for the leaf orders. But no, your precious fort had to have me killed. He slipped the info to the third of what I was doing and brought everything to light. Who do you even think sanctioned the curse seal? Who do you think granted me that precious full use of knowledge, considering that Jiraiya is dead?" That's not true," said Kushina. "What does the curse seal do?" "I'll tell you," said Orochimaru as he snapped his finger. As Teiwaya got to her feet like a puppet. "It draws upon sage chakra. Tell me, how many sages do you know live in Konoha when I defected? You were about to think Jiraiya, right? But he died, didn't he? Oh my, how amusing. You probably have a lot of questions. But let me tell you this. As a group of snakes materialized beside Orochimaru and grabbed all of the wounded, including Sasuke and the others, the feeling of betrayal doesn't seem much in the beginning. As he made the snakes leave the clearing, at first you don't believe it, and you fight it with everything that you got. But then you realize that you've been betrayed. You've been used. And then you change into something that is so decrepit, something so wicked. You start to use others. You start to do as you please to make sure that everything that you want happen without any repercussion, any damage on your part, because you've been betrayed once, and you would never, never suffer that pain ever again. No, no, he wouldn't do that, said Katsumi. Poor Katsumi-chan. Who do you think gave out the mission slip? Why do you think the Haiga compound was empty of their guards? Who changed the patrols? Who trapped you on the other side of the barricade? He wouldn't do that. I'm a ninja of Konoha, said Katsumi. Are you? Orochimaru said. You're the daughter of traitors. You saw your mother. You didn't help in defense of your teammate. You just stood there, watching your teammate fight, and possibly was gonna get killed. And now you have your mother, and you'll be going with her. And even if you don't want to, she won't let you go. Kushina clenched her fists. How was this possible? Why would Naruto of all people ally himself with Orochimaru? He knew who was responsible for his son's disappearance, right? But if he knew, why was he still? Kushina's eyes widened. He knows, doesn't he? Of course. I served the Hokage after all, Orochimaru said, and I obeyed him every single time. But the battle. Who do you think gave me the hint to the Edo Tensei, Orochimaru said? He planned, and he played on my ego to use it, and I indulged him to get my revenge against Minato. Why do you think he never led an assault against Zayn and Sound? Remember, it was my subordinates that helped with the barrier jutsu. Why do you think he never set his trackers against me, his Anvus, his best man? Why do you think Itachi was a partner with me in the Akatsuki? I have been the real spy all along. I have helped Naruto from the beginning, just like any sensei would do, and he helped me back just like a student would do. As Orochimaru chuckled darkly. It seems like you have a choice now, Kushina Mikaze. Run with your daughter or leave her here. And after Kurama, Yakumo Kurama untimely demise, I'm sure that she'll be used as a weapon of war, as she should be. Kushina fled with Katsumi in her chains. There wasn't an option there, she couldn't leave her daughter here at all. As Orochimaru chuckled and another pawn moved on the chessboard. Well, my student did take the best of my qualities. Always a quiet one. That turns out to be the most trickiest in the end, thought Orochimaru with a smirk. Meanwhile, at rain, Yamato flinched. He was displaying a little emotion every now and then. He had the work cut out for him. He was supposed to train Tobirama, the Hokage's son in Mokiton, at the same time avoid making it seem like he was protecting him for anything else than his skills, and wait for a contact from a high-ranking spy called Ku. With his Mokiton, with the aid of Tobirama, they were able to rebuild a large part of the Hidden Rain. It was like a mixture of Konoha and the Hidden Rain, technology and wood. The name of the village remained the Hidden Rain, but there wasn't really much of a village. The few civilians that remained in their house was reduced to slave work. The shinobis from the stone and the sand that came here and now were abandoned by their new Kages. They had no choice but to stick together. Yet everyone knew this was just postponing the inevitable. Their very army had marched the concept of leaving charred earth and nothing behind. If not for the supplies and lake itself, if it wasn't for the fishes, they would have lost many to hunger already. Yet Yamato was shocked to his core when he saw Kurosaki, who was supposed to be a prisoner wearing the stone attire, her hair tied up in a ponytail. She gave him the correct passcode. Have you seen my cat, she asked. Barbecued with his siblings. That was the passcode. As she chuckled, fond memories, she said. The 6-year-old boy almost bumped into her. He had grey hair, 2 different color eyes. It was none other than Tobirama. He was wearing a sandy, yellow jacket with grey pants, and a goggle on his forehead, with a pouch with a single kuna inside. Please, excuse my apprentice, Yamato said, as he put his hand on Tobirama's hair, knowing full well how it annoyed the boy. He should have been watching where he was running. I just got tired of standing still and meditating. I mean really, Sensei, meditating? Mokiton require finesse to become great, said Yamato. And we are the best solution to hold down Jinjurikis and their Bijus. Oh, I know. I heard about you, said Kurosaki. I saw you in action a long time ago. Her eyes flash, blue with slits in them. Yamato flinched. Did the Hokage send the Kyuubi? Of all people in the Hidden Rain, but no. First of all, how was she? No, she was in a, but Yamato started to lose his mind. He wondered if he was going crazy or something. She was in Kurosaki's body, but Yamato didn't know what to say. Kurosaki-sama, please, don't run away from your guards, a voice said, as none other than Kabuto Yakushe came to talk to the possessed granddaughter. As Yamato didn't know who Kabuto was working, it was too much. Kabuto-san, I was just speaking with the twin heroes of the Mokidan. Our upcoming battle against the Hidden Stone fake government, said Kurosaki. We have rays of hope with them on our side. Kurosaki-sama, please, the elders advise you. Again, speaking about this around, you never know who might be listening. As Kurosaki faked paling, you guys won't say anything, right? The both of them nodded. Damn, she's a natural at this, thought Yamato. He just hoped that this was his cue to move. He had to escort Tobaran back to Konoha after all. He was long due into meeting his family. Meanwhile, with Konan, as she stood in the proxy of the hidden rain, her eyes looking towards the lake, as she raised her hands to the heavens. Blood will always call blood. Nagato had told her not to, but how could she let them trample on the hidden rain like this? Those arrogant bastards walking free in their village. Yaiko would never stand for this. As she raised her hands, the paper tags in the water. There was a lot of them. A really large amount. Yaiko, this is for you, she said. Let their souls scream in the afterlife. Blood calls blood. As she activated her jutsu. Time skip. Konan. Do you realize what you have done? Said Nagato softly. As he sat in his seat, as his Rinnegan eyes looked over towards the Kunoichi. As they were in New Kiri, kept dry underground despite being under the water from the array of seals that were everywhere. As they were in a small office, a desk, chair, some shelf. It might look normal, but when you consider that they were a long way below the surface of the ocean, well, that could change your mind. I could not let them go on, said Konan. Nagato, please. The hidden rain was Yaiko's. Do you think he would be happy about it? Nagato asked. He shook his head slowly, his eyes focused on Konan. He would have, she said. Understand, no. He wouldn't have, said Nagato, cutting her off. He wouldn't have condoned any more killing than necessary. He wouldn't have razed his own home village down to the ground. She snapped at him. They were walking like they owned the place. Before she averted her gaze, someone had to do something. But that someone wasn't meant to be you or any of us. How could we pronounce peace when we slaughter the losers of war? How can we be seen as a force of mercy when we don't show any? She closed her eyes for a moment. She knew he was right. Nagato was always right, but she just couldn't let it go like that. So what? We should wait and see. We have to act before it is too late. Konoha won't be doing much anytime soon, said Nagato. If only you had waited. The Hokage sickness is spreading. News about it is spreading all over the land. There would have been a long time for peace. But now, we can only hope that chaos doesn't erupt again, and so soon. Why? Said Konan. The hidden rain was the only thing preventing Konoha from turning their hungry gaze towards the east, towards Kumo and Kiri. It would have been a temporary time of peace that would have given me the time to conquer Kumo. But now, well, it is quite simple, said a voice. Konoha might intervene directly. It was the voice of Madara, as he appeared in the middle of the room with his usual trick, as he had a battle fan on his back as well, with his orange mask. What brings you here, said Nagato. I was overseeing an exchange. It turns out that Kuchina got her girl back, but Orochimaru was brought back. And it seemed like he was a spy for Konoha the entire time, and they're currently linked with the hidden sound. Orochimaru? Yes. He was a well-used tool that was backstabbed by Minato. But the fifth seemed like he would give him a pardon. Isn't he sick, said Nagato, as Madara simply chuckled. He is already in full health. It appeared using the Kyuubi's Yen chakra did him no damage at all. Well, judging from the report what Itachi said when he came back here, that complicated things. The door opened as Itachi and Deidara was brought in. Itachi was the one that was bound with chakra suppression chains, and Deidara looked sympathetic. Sorry boss, I didn't think that you'd have visitors, but I wanted to solve this quickly, Itachi-san. Did save my life after all. Oh, Toby wanted to know as well, said Madara as he acted like a fool. He couldn't tell Deidara that he was indeed Madara Uchiha. Well, he wasn't really Madara Uchiha, but he didn't want them to know who he really was. And to the others he was Toby, an idiot who goes around the Akatsuki acting like a fool. The only thing that he was glad about was that Itachi was useful to him, and he would be useful once again in the future, as Deidara told them everything that happened, everything that he heard, while he was gagging face down to the ground. As Nagato eyes scanned Itachi, why didn't you say anything? We could have come to help you. There was still Orochimaru in the organization, he would have known. Sensei, he always knows things. I did find it strange, you being silent about the Akatsuki location. Fair enough. Welcome back, Itachi. I'm sorry for your loss. It's good to be home, Itachi said, and I swear, my mother will be avenged. No, said Nagato, revenge only seek hatred. The cycle can only be broken on one side. Realize that revenge is not the key. But we decide to fight Konoha, said Itachi perplexed. Toby knew who to fight. He was there. He saw the Senju master the Raijin. We need to stop the Hokage. You were there, said Itachi. As he kept himself calm, hoping the small, subtle signs that him and Naruto passed through each other were unnoticed. Toby became curious, but I had to run because Hokage was really serious. It's good to have Itachi tense, Toby thought to himself. He knew what happened, but he wasn't the one watching over everything. The only good thing was, half of the Kyuubi was now in their hands. He wasn't even displeased with Mikato's death. It just meant instead of him using the woman as a breeding machine to produce pure Uchihas, he will have to resort to Yume, once she became proper age, of course. Toby, said Nagato, his tone sounded wrathful like the god that he said that he was. You left Hitachi at the hands of Riss. Toward the Hokage. I thought you said you value your friends more. Toby, sorry, but Toby was really scared. Deidara rolled his eyes at that. Not that Shrimp could do much. I'm a leader, you know him. I'm not a shrimp, Toby said. Itachi, Deidara, you're both dismissed. Konan, we will speak about events later. The shackles were removed. Off. Itachi, meanwhile, in another part of New Kiri, Katsumi was eyeing murder towards her mother, who was standing outside the cage that Katsumi was dropped in. Let me go. Katsumi-chan, this is for your own good. Your seal is leaking. It's on. Before Kushina could finish, Katsumi grabbed the bars, as seal spread across them as Katsumi cried out in pain when they activated. Her palms were burned, but they started to heal rather quickly. This cage is contained and suppressor. She didn't say the word though, but she sat down. We can talk now, said Kushina. Katsumi folded her arms, she turned her head. Well then, I'll talk. And you listen to me. It's been a while since we have a good talk. Mother to daughter, as she asked questions, but Katsumi just scowled. There wasn't much to do, seeing that they were a New Kiri person. One of them was a visitor though, and one of them were the prisoner. These prisons were rather wicked. After all, if someone was condemned to death, the prison would be detached from New Kiri, and given the fact that they were so deep underwater, the person would definitely drown, and they could not escape the bars that would cause them immense pain if they even touch it. Just leave me alone, or better yet, bring me back to Konoha, said Katsumi, snapping after Kushina kept on asking her a lot of questions. As Kushina sighed before she got to her feet, soon you realize how I saved your life. Your brother only wanted you for the Kyuubi. He never loved you, Katsumi. Just like you never loved him. As Katsumi didn't want to think about that, her brother would never use her like this. She never wanted to believe that he would ever do that. He wouldn't do that. As her mother started to leave, as Katsumi started to think over the events, as she wondered if Neji was fine, did he die? She didn't know. What about Sasuke? Were Orochimaru's words true? Were her mother's? Who could she actually trust? As she hugged her own knees, sitting in the cage, she wasn't going to cry. She was going to stay there and wait. Her brother would come to save her, she was sure of it. He wouldn't abandon her, she was sure of it. He would not. Meanwhile, with Naruto, Uncle eyes were murderous as she looked towards Naruto. As they were walking, they were back to Konoha. Well, considering the fact that he set up everything and his daughters were involved, despite having the situation under control, that was just risky. He was a Hokage and he had to do what was best for Konoha, but that was bullshit. His plans, including his daughter to be protected by Orochimaru, who would take back over Hinata if anything happened to them. This was also that the plan could go in motion and solve Katsumi's long-term problem. As Naruto did his best in raiding the Yang chakra of the Kyuubi, but he wasn't a seal master as they depicted him, and most of his seals were failing fast. Kushina was a better seal master than him, and she was necessary to Katsumi's survival. Furthermore, Naruto could not always be there to siphon out the Yang chakra and merge with his Yang to keep it stable. During the war, when they were unleashing the chakra from the hidden stone, the both of them felt it, and he had to combine and take the chakra away from her before she went berserk. But on one side, he gave away Katsumi by giving her to Kushina, but on the other hand, he was helping her because he knew sooner or later the seals would fail, and everything would go to hell, but Kushina could solve that. She was a seal master after all. It was a simple exchange with that red-haired woman, all for the good of his family, all to make sure that everyone is going to be alright. Still, as they walked, Uncle Gaze was murderous on him. As Naruto raised his hand as a bubble of air, surrounding the two. So, you know you can't tell them it was all planned, right? He said to her. I know, so I get to be the psychotic bitch who escaped the holding cell. And you kept on being the heartbroken man. You know, you're worse than the three of them combined. Danzo, Orochimaru, and the fourth Hokage, she said. Everything I do for Konoha is for his betterment, and the people I hold dear, uncle, said Naruto. Oh, so I'm no longer the Midarashi woman, huh? No longer that, it's Uncle no, huh? She was hoping, she was actually praying that he would start to call her uncle once again. But now it just made her angry and he called her that. Come on, I know that it was a bit underhanded. What? A bit, she said. You used me, Karen, Yumi, Neji, Satsuki, everyone. So many others. You don't even know if they're all alive right now. And you're walking back to Konoha. What happened to the boy that I fell in love with? The kind-hearted one. What happened to him? He grew up, said Naruto. He was hit with the reality of life. Loving someone, knowing that it was all fake to be crushed, being lied to over and over. And he became someone else entirely, said Naruto. His tone was dark as he spoke. You're scaring me, she said. As she averted her eyes, you really consider Orochimaru someone that you can trust? Do you know the things he did to me? The other orphans, Project Barracuda, and Project Sage Soldier. I know of them, I'm the Hokage. I looked at all the confidential data in Ply. As he waved his right hand to dismiss the entire thing. Uncle blinked. They just dismissed her and the entire subject. The simple wave of his right hand. He dismissed the death of 9 other orphans who believed in Orochimaru like he was nothing. If you think I'm all bad, do you think the third was indifferent? Who do you think handed over prisoners of war? To Orochimaru, to help him resolve the immortality scheme. How did you think the second brought forward the end of war? It was by ruthlessly backstabbing his political enemies, working in the shadows. Hoshirama, none of them are different. We are Kages, uncle. Do you really think what I did it light-heartedly? Like, it was some kind of walk in the park. If you can tell me, is there anything else I should have done, he asked. I think you're not beating yourself up enough, she said. And if this becomes a habit, you're going to lose everything. And you're going to be some heartless dictator, she said. Naruto chuckled. I should beat myself up more, he said. Last time I tried moping and being sad about something, Karen came to me in tears. She was crying because I was feeling guilt. Let me finish, said Naruto as he was about to interrupt him. If she didn't want to see his ways, he would slaughter her right here because he told her too much. She either followed him or she died. It was cruel, but it was necessary. I thought long and hard on what to do. They're both our precious daughters, uncle, and I don't want to see them cry. But they're both gonna keep being and becoming kunoichis. I know it, you know it, everyone in the village knows that. So if I have to use Orochimaru, Neji, Sasuke, Kami, Yami, the devil, the demons of hell themselves, then I'll do it. But I'll make peace for our daughters and everyone else. A peace where the innocents don't have to sully their hands with the blood of the innocents. A peace where they don't have to do what I had to do. If I had to become the slaughter of the elemental countries, if I have to burn every single one of them, then I'll do it. I'll do it all, said Naruto. As uncle just stared at him. But you still use our daughters in the first place. What if Orochimaru is not truthful to his words? What if something goes wrong and they all die? I always have contingency plans. And if that happened, I'll just bring them all back, said Naruto. As uncle looked at him. But there was no line on his face. Naruto, she said in a choked voice. You mastered that technique? Prisoners of war are good at least for something, he said. Uncle slapped him across the left cheek. Then she slapped him on the right one. Then she started to punch his armor, not caring that she was just hurting herself. Give me Naruto back. Not this one, the real one, she said. Where's Naruto? What have you done with him? You said that you would never use that, never master it, never pay those prices. You stupid, idiotic moron, she said, as her head slumped against his chest. Idiot. She punched his chest once again. This is a pot calling the head black, he said, as he caressed her hair, as his right hand was moving towards Raijin. As she mumbled something. What did you just say? As he paused. I said I want to come back. You can't stay on the right path with someone breathing down your neck. We divorced for a reason, uncle, and I did give you another chance. Would that suffice, he whispered. That was a trick chance. I want a fair chance, and I'll take it by force if that is what I have to do. There's no such thing as a trick chance. Come on, you spend years keeping me leash, and you expect... As she looked up at him, your feelings of love, they were genuine, right? Or you wouldn't have been so hurt. Look, I was hurt too, and I was kept on a leash as well. Both our leashes are held by Danzo, who's now dead and deceased. So please, give me a real chance, she said. As Naruto was uncomfortable as he looked at her. On one side, she was right. He had forgiven Hiruzen on the same principle. And also he was on the process of killing her. He nearly killed her a moment ago. But he saw everything. He saw the misery that she went through. How she cried over and over. He saw everything through the rest of the eyes. It was nothing but a pawn. And it was all just a test. And she had passed it with full marks as he looked at her. I'm still the I am situation. That's not pretty, but I wouldn't care, she said. I'm not sharing, but you can still keep on fooling on her. I'm not gonna do something like that, sure. I've been using her in the long run. But I'm not gonna just go up to her and blurt this all out. It's gonna be gentle. There's no such thing like breaking up gentle, trust me. If you acted like how you did in our marriage, she will be hurt. You seem awfully sure that I'll accept you again, he said to her. As Uncle moved her head up and kissed him. As his hands placed on her shoulders, he did not push or pull her in. As she pulled back, see? And if you don't agree, I'll just hunt you down. I can follow you. I can jump on you while you sleep. Until you gave me a fair chance, she said. As Naruto looked at her, you hurt me far more than I ever thought. I don't know if I can survive another betrayal. I won't, she said. I will never ever betray you again. Please, just give me a second chance, she begged. As Naruto and passed her here, you said mere minutes ago I'm not Naruto that you know of. So I'm hoping that you also change, he said. But things are different now, he said. My heart has been turned into stone a long time ago. It won't be the same. It doesn't matter, she said. I'll take that challenge on. As Naruto chuckled at that, he would let she live. Yumi would be happy to know that she was okay. But Uncle would never know that she was second away from being beheaded if she hadn't said anything. As he walked with a smile on his face that looked too good to be true. But guys, if you end episode right here, if you want to see the next part, to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification so I posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, guys, I posted a brand new series over at The Making 3, made by yours truly, guys. What if Naruto had the most deadliest bloodline? So go ahead and check out that, guys, and enjoy. And also, I posted a brand new series over in The Making of What If Naruto Became the Shadow of Konoha. So go ahead and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the NidaimeNaruto family. And thank you for all of your help and support. And yes, if you're new, I need our 3 channels, NidaimeNaruto, NidaimeNaruto 2, and NidaimeNaruto 3, which I post what fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we get the hell out of here? See you guys soon. Peace.